Commissioner Colleen. Commissioner Dobb.
Here.
Commissioner Clark Coleman. Commissioner Kenizik. Chair Basham.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Item.
B, Chair's remarks.
I have none.
C, approval of the June 29, 2022 meeting minutes.
Move for approval.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, Madam Clerk.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed.
Item.
Moving to item 3, under new business, requesting commission approval of modification 3 to a 3-year professional services contract with a 2-year option to renew with Plant & Moran PLLC.
Okay, I'd like to introduce our Auditor General, Ms. Cora, her staff, and our guest. And Ms. Cora, please proceed.
Marcy Cora, Auditor General, and I believe we have representatives from M&B online, and also if Mark Abel could introduce himself.
He didn't hear you.
Yogesh is supposed to be online.
Yes. Good morning. This is Yogesh from Management Budget.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What you have before you today, this is modification number 3 to the professional service contract with Plant Moran for the county's external audit. This amendment will cover fiscal years ending September 30th, 2022, 23, and 24. We think this is in the best interest of the county due to the staffing levels and the outstanding products within the county. There, in addition to the external audit services, there's also an additional $250,000 that we've had each year, fiscal year, for audit scope services. And I'll take any questions if there is any, if Yogesh wants to add anything to this, and also if Mark does. I believe Plant Moran brings a lot to the table for the external audit, considering the difficulties we had the last couple of years with the external audit. So I think this is the best interest of the county.
Yes. Good morning. May I say this is Yogesh again from Management Budget. I would definitely agree with Ms. Cora. Plant Moran brings in a lot to the audit, as well as assisting us to complete the audit in our timely fashion. So I would agree with Ms. Cora. Thank you.
It's good that we all rode together. Any questions or comments from commissioners? Commissioner Kling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What are the 3 audits you refer to as out of scope of this current contract?
This is if additional services are needed that are not part of the external audit services. It could be assisting the treasurer's office, assisting M&B
Okay,
due to
so
lack of staff.
just to be clear,
Wait a minute.
Sharita and
Jump in. Hello.
Danielle,
Hello.
if I wanted to move forward with the outdoor camera,
I don't know
it
who
would be an
this is, but
additional,
Madam Clerk, could you mute them, please?
from Sharita's perspective, it'll be an additional 99.
Madam Clerk, could you mute whoever's online? You got them? All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Please proceed, Mr. Glenn.
All set. Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate the answer.
Okay. Ms. Cora, go ahead.
That completes.
Okay. So any further discussion on item number 3? All those in favor?
We get a motion?
Making a motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
Move for
Get a
approval.
motion from, it's early. Can I get a motion from, what was it, Commissioner Kleen?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Dobb, supported by Commissioner Kleen. Any further discussion? Ms. Cora?
Just under further discussion, I wanted to advise that Dave Helisek, the partner with Plant Moran, is in the audience.
Well, welcome. And then, do you have any comments you'd like to make? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And it looks like you have somebody with you. Could you introduce them? Well, welcome to the government of Wayne County. I'd like to welcome our committee member, former Army Commissioner Knesik. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Yeah, ayes have it. And thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 1, communication from Marcella Cora, Wayne County Legislative Auditor General, forwarding a copy of the Office of Legislative Auditor General's Financial Assessment Limited Review Report for the Wayne County Sewage Disposal Systems audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended September 30, 2021.
Ms. Cora.
This item is our financial assessment limited review report for the Wayne County Sewage Disposals audited financial statements for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2021. Andrew Ray is going to go through this presentation.
Good morning, Andrew Ray, Principal Senior Auditor. I will begin with some background, which can be found on page 2 of the OAG's report. At present, the Wayne County sewage disposal systems consist of the Rouge Valley Sewage Disposal System and combined sewer overflow basins, collectively the systems, which are enterprise funds of the Charter County of Wayne, Michigan. The county owns and operates the system in accordance with enabling legislation and service agreements. The Wayne County Department of Public Services Environmental Services Division administers the systems. Materials and services supplied by outside vendors or other county operations are charged to the system responsible for such expenses when incurred. Certain other services are shared among the systems and other county operations, with the proportionate cost of these services being billed to the individual system based on the actual services provided. The Independent Externals Auditor Report, which can be found on page 2 of the OAG's report. Plant Moran, PLLC, the independent external auditor, stated that the information for the sewage disposal systems as of September 30th, 2021 is fairly stated in all material respects in relation to the county's financial statements as a whole. This unmodified opinion is issued by an auditor when the financial statements presented are free of material misstatements and are represented fairly in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. It is the best type of an opinion an entity may receive from the external auditor. For the OAG's assessment, which can be found on page 3 of the OAG's report, we concluded that generally the audited financial statements and other supplementary information appear complete and thorough. However, our review of the report content noted the following. Total assets as of September 30th, 2021 were $102.3 million, primarily due to a decrease of $3.7 million in dues from other governments and $2.9 million in assets subject to depreciation, offset by an increase of approximately $1.5 million in other receivables. Total liabilities decreased due to decreases of $3.8 million in other liabilities, $1.5 million in payables to Wayne County, and $880,000 in long-term debt. Net position increased due to operating revenue exceeding operating expenses by $1 million. Cash and investments, also found on page 3. For the year ended September 30th, 2020, the system's pooled cash and investments deposited in the county treasurer's internal cash management pool were $8.3 million. The carrying cash amount of the system's pooled cash and investments deposited in the county's treasurer's internal cash management pool was $8.7 million for the year ended September 30th, 2021. Restricted assets, also found on page 3. The system's restricted assets are composed of receivables from local units of $2,063,364 and $2,208,364 as of September 30th, 2021 and 2022, respectively. Bond principal due from municipalities was recorded upon the issuance of debt payable from judgment levies for construction of sewage facilities and systems. Such principal will be repaid by the benefited local communities in accordance with the debt service requirements of the county. Long-term debt and other obligations found on page 3 and 4 of our report. As of September 30th, 2021, total long-term debt and other obligations totaled $10.6 million. The sewage disposal systems primarily issues 2 types of bonds: general obligation bonds, for which the county has pledged its limited tax, full faith, and credit for repayment. These bonds are primarily payable from the proceeds received from the respective community. The principal balance outstanding for these bonds was approximately $2.1 million as of September 30th, 2021. Next is revenue bonds, which are secondarily secured by the limited tax, full faith, and credit pledge of the county. These bonds are primarily payable from the charges for sewer disposal services assessed against the communities. The principal balance outstanding for these bonds was approximately $8.5 million as of September 30th, 2021. For upcoming accounting pronouncements found on page 4, in June 2017, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board issued statement number 87, leases, which improves the accounting and financial reporting for leases by governments. The systems are currently evaluating the impact of the standard and it will, the impact it will have on the financial statements when adopted. The provisions of this statement are effective for the system's financial statements for the year ended September 30th, 2022. Based on our limited review, nothing came to our attention that caused us to believe that the financial report, including the audited financial statements of the sewage disposal systems, are not presented in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles. It is our recommendation that the OAG's financial assessment limited review report of the sewage disposal systems financial statements for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2021 be forwarded to the Wayne County Commission for receiving and filing. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Cora?
I believe we have a representative from the Department of Public Services Finance Division, the Assistant Division Director, Moina Moore.
Yes, good morning. Moina Moore, Assistant Division Director for DPS Finance. I am on the line. I don't have anything additional to add as it relates to the presentation. Thank you and good morning, all.
Cora, anything else?
That concludes our presentation.
Get a motion? Commissioner Kleen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of questions before we go to a vote. When do we anticipate that we're going to be retiring both the revenue and the general obligation bonds? How much longer on that? Do we have a projection?
That would be a question for Ms. Moore.
Thank you so much. I'd have to go back and check against our amortization schedules, and I can follow up with this body with a response to that question.
I'd like to hear that. One other thing, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to ask the department, is there maps available of where all the CSO basins are? CSOs are, a threat to our water quality. And I'd like to know where in the county, and if there's also a map available, the Rouge Valley system, where all those pipes are. Are any of those available, Ms. Steele?
Good morning, Elmika Steele, Department of Public Services. We do have some maps available. I can follow up with you afterward to provide that information.
I would appreciate that. It's been a relatively dry summer so far, but when we have the big wet weather events, those CSOs really come into play, and I think it'd be good for all commissioners to know what they have in their own backyard with regards to that. So I'd appreciate if you could provide it to the committee. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Can I get a motion?
Move to receive and file.
Moved. Can I get support? Moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 2 is a financial assessment limited review report for the Wayne County Building Authority's audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended September 30, 2021.
Cora?
Crystal Thomas is going to perform this presentation. I'm just checking to see if anybody from the building authority is online.
Anybody from the Building Authority online?
We could do the presentation. If there's any questions, we can always get responses from them at another time.
Start with a brief background. The authority was created in 1961 under provisions of the State of Michigan Public Act number 31, extra session of 1948 as amended. The authority was established to provide for the acquisition, furnishing equipment, owning, improvement, enlarging, operation, and maintenance of buildings and building sites for lease to and eventually ownership by the county. This includes recreational facilities, stadiums, parking lots, or other structures. A 5-member board whose members serve a 5-year term govern the authority. The county executive, subject to approval by the Wayne County Commission, appoints the board members. The authority's administrative functions are managed by officials in the Department of Management and Budget. On page 3 of our report, you will find a chart that shows the governmental funds in thousands. The revenue shows a balance of $183,400, which was an increase for fiscal year 2020 of $23,438. This increase was primarily due to a substantial increase in payments from other county funds, which was the debt service fund. The fund balance shows $7,699, which was a decrease to fiscal year 2020 of $10,087. This decrease was primarily due to operating revenue in excess of expenditures of $173,312. Offset by the refunding of Series 2010 jail bonds of $175,000. The building authority's net position decreased by $2.7 million in fiscal year 2021. This change is primarily the result of a decrease in the debt service fund balance. As of September 30th, 2021, the authority's total governmental fund balance was $7.7 million. A decrease of $2.3 million from the prior year. A significant portion of the fund balance is restricted to indicate it is not available for new spending because it has already been committed to pay debt service for $5.6 million, program activities of $1.3 million, and capital improvement expenditures of $776,621. The Wayne County Building Authority did prepare a budget for the years ending September 30th, 2021 and 2020. The annual budgets are adopted on a basis consistent with generally accepted accounting principles and state law for general fund and all special revenue funds. At the end of the 2021 fiscal year, the Wayne County Building Authority had bonded debt outstanding of $13 million, which was a significant decrease of approximately $176 million from the prior year's amount of $189 million. During the year, the county issued approximately $245 million in general obligation bonds. The county transferred approximately $176 million of the proceeds to the authority to refund the remaining balance of the Recovery Economic Development bonds. The proceeds were deposited in a trust with an escrow agent. As a result, the bonds are considered defeased. And then the liability for the bonds has been removed from the long-term debt. The authority is not responsible for the debt service of the refunding debt. In conclusion, based on our limited review, nothing came to our attention that caused us to believe the Wayne County Building Authority's audited financial statements are not presented in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles. It is our recommendation that the OIG Financial Assessment Limited Review Report on the Wayne County Building Authority's financial statements for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2021 be forwarded to the Wayne County Commission for receiving and filing. This will conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Is there any, I'm sorry, Commissioner Dobb?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Who is responsible for preparing the annual budgets for the Wayne County Building Authority? Is it someone on the board, or is there an outside auditor or accounting person or a legal department that they contract with? I'm just wondering who ultimately is responsible for making sure that those get prepared.
For Mr. Abbo?
I believe the administration's been responsible for preparing the budget.
The administration?
May I answer that? This is again, through a chair, Commissioner Dobb. This is Yogesh Kisani again, Deputy CFO Management Budget. So we have a senior executive that working in EDD who is responsible for a component unit budget preparation, and budget is approved by Wayne County Building Authority. So we do have a budget for debt service fund, which is approved by Building Authority Board. So that person unfortunately is not on the line at this point, but we can certainly take any questions if you have. So it is prepared by M&B, and that person is reporting to an M&B.
Okay, so Wayne County Management and Budget is responsible for making sure that the annual budget from the Wayne County Building Authority is prepared. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I'm looking at the Wayne County Building Authority website, and I don't know if this has not been updated, but I've noticed that there's a couple members who have terms that have expired in 2021 and 2020. Is that incorrect? Do we just need to update that information?
Administration wants to comment about that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, once again, Commissioner,
Please
that is
step up
correct.
to the pedestal.
I'm
Yes,
chairing the
thank you.
meeting. Would you like to respond? It's on now.
There you go. Eddie Fukori with the administration. To answer your question, we are in review of all seats that may have expired, especially during the time of our COVID pandemic. So they are in review. The building authority's seats are actually being reviewed this morning before this meeting. So we are going to be addressing and making sure that we make everyone's seats and terms current. But you're
Okay.
correct. The information on the website is somewhat outdated, but we'll have more current information to share with the commission soon.
Okay, wonderful, because I
Thanks.
also noticed that there's two others that are close to expiring, sometime, July
Yeah,
and
it's
August.
an ongoing
Yeah.
cycle
Right.
typically. So, but we will keep this commission apprised of all the updates.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's all for my questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleen had a question or comment?
Mr. Chair, a couple of things here. And I do want to thank the Auditor General for adding the composition of the board for these component units. On the budget little discussion, I'm glad to see that budgets are being done there. We've had this discussion quite a lot in this committee with audits of component units that budgets, hadn't been being submitted. But on page 3 of 4 of your report, Madam Auditor General, I was a little confused. It said they did prepare budgets for the year ended September 30, 2021 or 2020. I was a little confused by that statement.
The budgets were prepared, but what wasn't prepared was the budget comparison schedule for the general fund.
Sorry?
The budget comparison schedule was what's not included in the financial statements. Budgets were prepared though.
So
Because it's for fiscal
they
year
did
20 and
prepare budgets for year end 21
21 and 20.
and 20, not an or, an
Yeah,
and.
yes, yes. Should be in there.
We're in 22, or is when you say for, well, years ended September 30, 2022.
We haven't got to that one yet.
We don't have that one yet. And I took note in your report, and this is back on page 2 of 4 under the external auditors reports and letters, that the building authority did not submit management discussion and analysis letter, the old MD&A, which I find those letters are very rich in laying out the organization and all of those activities. would you care to comment on that and as to what as the county internal auditor, what the absence of that means, and if we had discussions of them presenting a management discussion letter?
This has been noted in the past. The omission of the management discussion analysis, as you indicated, does provide a lot of supplemental information on the organization, but the MD&A is not part of the financial statements, but are required per the Government Accounting Standard Board, so they should be preparing them.
Yeah, that's what I'm noting, is that it is a required.
Commissioner Cohen,
As-
you put $1 on the table, please. Maybe 2. Okay,
So
please proceed, Commissioner Kling.
who would be responsible for ensuring that that letter is submitted as required?
I would say Department of Management and Budget, if they're preparing the financial statements.
Well, I would encourage, it's not too late to do that letter, I assume.
It would be for this year, but to make sure it's in there for the fiscal year 2022.
I won't ask management and budget, but I certainly hope that in subsequent audits, we get that letter. The last thing I want to ask about is on page 404 of your report, Madam Auditor General. Under the potential risk exposures, we're moving a lot of money around here with bonds, issuing general obligation bonds, apparently paying off other bonds. You use some terms of art in here that bonds are considered defeased. Could you go through that in, I guess I would say, commissioner language, and what has been what are all these bonds? What's the effect of all of this?
That may be something that Yogesh would be able to answer better than I.
Okay.
Sure. Commissioner Kalyan, yeah. Yes, that is correct. So we had the old jail, I call it graduate jail, that those bonds were issued from a Wayne County Building Authority. And when we refunded in 2020 with a $245 million, so that's the refunding bonds from a Wayne County was not from a Wayne County Building Authority. So it's just simply saying any outstanding balance that we paid off, and it was paid off through our US Bank escrow account. So we transfer that money, what we received in 2020 as a bond proceeds from our refunding bonds. So that's all it's saying, that, we just paid off our 2010 bonds, which was a Renaissance zone bond, and it was a little higher interest compared to 2020 bonds. And that bond, the Wayne County is serving that bond, not the Wayne County Building Authority. Does that answer your question, sir?
Well, yeah, I think I'm almost there. So there was, so we used a general obligation bond of the county. We issued a general obligation bond. So paying that back is on the county general fund, correct?
That's correct.
The 245 million. And we transferred 176 million of that to the building authority, which is the decrease of 176 million from the prior amount of that $189 million bond that the building authority has.
Correct. And if I may add, along with 2010, we refunded 2008A. There were other two minor bonds, like around 45 or $50 million balance. So we refunded those bonds too.
Am I correct in saying then what we have essentially done here is removed the long-term debt from the building authority and have transferred that long-term debt to the county general fund?
I would say yes, But at the end of the day, Wayne County Building Authority is in a blended component unit. So it's reported along with the county's financial statement.
Well, I understand that in the overall, right? It's a component unit. And what is the reason we did that, to put the debt on the county general fund instead of having that debt with the building authority? Why is that a good move for the county to do it that way?
Commissioner, I have to check with legal folks. I am not sure about that, why it was being done this way versus the other way around. So I would definitely can check with Corp Counsel, and a lot of other legal folks were involved, including an outside attorneys too. So we can certainly get an answer through an administration.
I would
When
appreciate
you get that answer,
'cause-
could you share that with me also? I'll share it with all commissioners.
Yeah, please
Sure.
share it with the committee, because I guess, with these bond issues, sometimes issuing bonds now, you get better rates, and it decreases our overall long-term debt, and since it is a component unit. But I would be very curious as to why that debt was transferred from the authority to what I consider my general fund. Look forward to the explanation. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anything
Sure.
further?
Mhm.
Can I get a motion?
Receive and file.
Support that motion.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, Madam Clerk.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
Ms. Cora?
Yes, I'd like to introduce our new auditor that we hired last Wednesday. It was his first day, Tim Small. He comes to us from the U.S. Army Audit Agency, where he spent about 25 years. I think he brings a wealth of knowledge and experience here. And it's kind of a coincidence that before I came to the county, I worked at the Army Audit Agency, but we are kind of passing. I was leaving as he was coming in. So it's kind of nice to see somebody from my old agency coming to join the county.
Looks like I'm being
Welcome
outnumbered.
to the county.
Looks like I'm being outnumbered here, but welcome. You got 3 armies and 1 Air Force in this meeting, so. But anyway, welcome, seriously, and we appreciate working with you and working with the Auditor General, even though she's in the Army also. So then Commissioner Knezek, Army guy. So, but anyway, welcome. If you got anything you'd like to say, or well, Commissioner Colleen does.
Indeed, good news, Madam Auditor General. Does this mean your total staffing is now at 9 in the office?
8 3/4.
8 3/4.
We have another one going to start on August 1st.
Hoping for 9, if not more. Good news indeed. Congratulations.
Thank you. Anything further? Next item, Madam Clerk.
Public comments.
Is there anything you'd like to comment about your phone, Commissioner Coleman? Okay. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Adjournment.
Can I get a motion? Been moved and supported. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you.